Have you tried and failed at networking? Are you using networking, but it's just not working for you? Or would you like to go networking, but you really just don't know where to start? In this show, we're going to share with you some top secrets from one of the UK's leading networkers. In fact, he's so passionate about networking, he's formed and built a successful networking company that now operates worldwide.
It's time to love your business with Love Your Business TV. Here's your host, Adrian Peck.
So welcome to the show. As the intro said, I am Adrian Peck. I'm the founder and owner of Better Never Stops. We deliver business advice and coaching programs to entrepreneurs and business owners who run or want to run £1 million plus turnover businesses. I am also the author of How to Fall Back in Love with Your Business, the Entrepreneur's Guide to Rediscovering Your Mojo and Enjoying Every Day by Living Your Dream. Now, on this show, we want to talk about networking and how to get networking working for your business. And I'm really excited, actually, because I'm joined this afternoon by a special guest, Sean Fergusson, who is the founder, one of the co-founders of Fore-Business, that really kind of brings golf and business and networking together in such an unusual way, in a great way. So welcome, Sean. I'll just put you on here. Welcome, Sean.
Hello, Adrian. How are you?
I'm very good. It's really great to have you on the show. I'm actually a bit of a fan of yours, I have to say. I met you back in 2015, would you believe now? Which seems just miles ago. I met you at a Fore-Business event, one of your experiences at the Stoke-by-Nayland Golf Club. I just come off a golf course and stuff. Obviously, we met before the meeting and stuff. I signed up there and then because it's such an amazing thing that you do and such an amazing concept. And I distinctly remember driving out of that car park that day going, do you know what? That is really cool. Golf and networking. Who on earth thought of that? What a brilliant idea. I wish I thought of it myself. So whilst I want to talk about networking this afternoon, Sean, and kind of get some of the bits out, I really love your backstory. Obviously I know lots of bits of it, but it'd be great to share with all the listeners and viewers really kind of how you and Aaron came to form Fore-Business and kind of some of that story really. So tell us a bit about the story, Sean.
Okay, so, well, firstly, thanks for having me on your show, Adrian. I've been following it and you get some great guests, so I feel absolutely honoured to be on it today. So thank you ever so much. I think let's get one thing really clear here. We didn't invent what we do. It's been actually going for hundreds of years. What we've just identified is that people like to spend quality time with people on the golf course. And when you do that, you build integrity, trust, and business happens. In fact, you very quickly either work out whether you want to do business with somebody or not, probably after the second or third hole. But I'll take you back to, November 2012, if I may. Aaron and I, we kept passing at different networking events in Hampshire, non-golf at this stage. I was a prolific networker in the Hampshire area and going up to London a lot of the time as well. And Aaron and I got on really well. And after a period of time, we started diving in a bit more into our connections and to see how we could help each other. And it became apparent that I liked golf, but I only played twice a year, and Aaron played golf 10 times a year. And we thought it would be a really cool idea to maybe take the experience of a typical networking environment in a room and put it out onto the golf course. And that's what we did. So we approached our first golf club, Basingstoke Golf Club, back in January 2013, and our first group was launched in March 2013. And the weird thing is, I could actually share a graphic with you that Aaron and I did a presentation in, it must have been about May, June time, in front of a load of business owners in Basingstoke, and we shared their vision that actually in 5 to 6 years' time, we would be having groups in America and other parts of the world. And we actually achieved that, and we're really proud about that. But what we didn't see, what was coming around the corner, which we've all experienced in the last 15 weeks.
Absolutely, indeed. But take us through, because I mean, you built that networking, Fore-Business from that great little kind of concept of just kind of getting together on a golf course and doing some business in a kind of structured way. But you've taken that now across Europe and now into the US as well. But what are some of some of the biggest challenges you've had during that, and then what are the big things you've learned from it? So, because it's a great business story to share.
Well, I mean, the first thing really is having the belief, and I suppose deciding what you really want to achieve. Aaron and I, we love meeting people. We love introducing people. I'm sometimes described as a bit of I have an addiction where I love to introduce people, and I see synergies, and I love just making things happen. And that isn't to get reward financially, because that isn't something we practice as a business. But it's one of great feeling when you can see a synergy and you make that introduction and you make that connection for people. So the first thing we wanted to do was try and create a format that allowed business owners, local business owners, to get together once a month and have an excuse to play golf. Aaron and I, we both have young families, so playing golf at the weekend just doesn't go hand in hand. It certainly didn't back then. My children are a lot older now. But we never had the opportunity to play golf at the weekend. And it was just a really good opportunity to create something structured that could work locally. But then we realized very quickly that if we wanted to succeed in Fore-Business, we had to launch other groups quite quickly. So we very quickly then started to go for other bigger cities in the country. And within about 2 years, we had about 45 groups scattered across the UK. And then we realized that actually, wouldn't it be great if other groups could get together and go and visit other groups? So, Fore-N do it. I think they call it the passport. But, when you're some of the networking organizations, you can't step out of that group. And we wanted to include members from all around the country to participate and get together, because we saw great value in that. And that's what we did. And, we had members. Our goal, I suppose, 3 years in, was to make sure that a member of Fore-Business could get in their car and go and visit 2 other groups within an hour's drive. And we did that within 2 to 3 years. And that was really one of our main goals, because we saw situations where people wanted to get involved, but there wasn't a group near to them. So we had to deal with that, that was certainly one of the challenges. The other challenge was we just wanted to have no boundaries for people to come and get involved. And a boundary straight away might be one of, well, it's a £45 green fee to come and get involved. And because it was a new concept, although it had been around a long time, but nobody had really put it together as a structured business, people would look at that and go, well, I can get around a golf there for £35. Why am I going to pay £45? So, we realized, actually, do you know what? Don't charge. We took the absolute risk not to charge for green fees. We covered the green fees. We made sure that they were business owners with, they had an appetite to grow their business. They wanted an excuse to play more golf. And that's what we did for 7 years. And it worked really well. But now the way the golf industry has changed so much in the last 15 weeks, golf is one of the only sports at the moment you can get together with other people and have a conversation and do something sport-like. So that becomes all of a sudden a lot more of a premium product. And it's not something that we're in a position now just to give away for free anymore.
Absolutely, indeed. So, I think you are a little bit blasé almost about how hard you guys work, because I saw you a few times during that time when you were building this business, and you nonstantly kind of say, we built up to 45 groups, in a couple of years. It was an enormous amount of work that you guys done, and the mileage that you must have done. I know you were leaving at home at kind of 3-4 o'clock in the morning to get some venue. I mean, you worked your absolute socks off, didn't you? I mean, it's no undertaking.
Yeah. God. I've gone goose pimply when you say that. I'm really not exaggerating. And you've reminded me there what that used to look like. Aaron and I, that was a challenge. When we started launching groups, we were given dates maybe to launch a group in Plymouth, but then we were given a date to launch in Norwich. And we weren't in a position of negotiation to say, well, can we do it the following week, please, Mr. Norwich Golf Club? We had to take the date that they gave us between Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday or Friday. Aaron and I remember often leaving the Plymouth group, at 2:30 after having lunch with them after the round of golf and driving all the way to Norwich, popping in to see my family in Hampshire to say hi bye, and then carrying on to 3. Now, the really weird thing is, and this has been a really weird journey, because you're right, Aaron and I, my mornings would start sometimes at 2:30, 2:45 in the morning, and I'd be in the car. I mean, I had it down to a T where I could get up, dressed, and out of the door within about 15 minutes. And Aaron and I, to keep ourselves sane, would often be in different locations, but in the car at the same time. So we'd often be speaking for quite some time, and that was really interesting. Some of the brainstorming we did at 3:30 in the morning was just off the scale stuff, where we came up with so many great ideas. But the really weird thing is, you get to the meetings, and this was brilliant, actually. I remember one time I arrived to a group in Manchester. Manchester was as far north as I was prepared to drive, and Aaron, without having a stayover. So that was a 3.5 hour, 3 hour, 45-minute drive from Hampshire up to Manchester. I always wanted to get there before the guests to meet and greet them. That's what we do. And that's what our ambassadors do now. And then we would leave there at 2 o'clock. So I would then get home at sort of, 6:30, something like that in the evening. But what I loved was when a guest would come into the room, bearing in mind I've been up since 2:30, and a guest comes into the room at 7:20, which is when our meetings used to start. And I'd say, "Hi, morning. Hi, I'm Sean. Lovely to meet you. Tell me about your business." And they would look at me and say, "Gosh, you're really on it this morning. I'm knackered. I'm not used to these early starts." And I said, "Oh, right. What was your early start then?" "Well, I was up at 6:30. "Okay. Well, I was in the car at 3 o'clock in the morning." And they're like, "Whoa." And it's really interesting how that sorts them out straight away, But it's been a lot of fun. It has been tiring. I won't lie, and I'll speak for Aaron as well, that I think that we couldn't have carried on for much longer doing back-to-back 2:30, 3 o'clock starts like that. I mean, we were relentless. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But luckily, we've got an amazing team of ambassadors up and down the country, and now in other territories around the world, who run their groups really well, are generating opportunities for themselves. And it's allowed Aaron and I to not have to attend so many meetings as we used to. And then we've got our regional directors as well across Scotland, the Northwest and the Southwest. And again, that adds a lot of value to experience for the members and ambassadors, but also it just takes a lot of pressure off us, so that we can then start focusing on other territories when we can start to. At the moment, we can't.
Yeah. So given that then, and obviously it's a kind of know what's happened in the last 15 weeks, and I'll come on to that in a second, but where you were kind of 15 weeks ago, what was, if you were to start it again, what are the kind of things that you've learned and you would do differently?
Wow, there's a question. What would I do differently?
I told you it's going to be tough. I wasn't going to be easy on you, Sean.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. What would I do differently? I'm gonna have to come back to that one. I mean, one of the things. Because obviously this is a business to you, and I know a lot of people may have seen you and Aaron drive around the countryside playing golf every day, but they didn't quite appreciate the fact that you were getting up at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning at the earliest, and those long days. And whilst it might seem, well, it's just a jolly day, you were serious about building this business and building this networking business. So you have deliberately gone out to build a business, and you've done it very, very well. But what are some of the things that the kind of real hard business lessons you potentially learned out of it? Well, I think you can't be in 100 places at once in the UK, because we have 100 groups. So you've got to really make sure that if you've got people who are representing your brand, that you've got that integrity. You've got that continuity. With your brand and the message, and I think we've done quite well at that by hosting various training sessions and ambassador cups and all those sort of things. But I think the other really important thing that we've learned is you've got to get a solid team, a real solid base, and we're really fortunate that we've got some great staff that work with us, and in fact we've got to know them even more over the last 3 months, because we have now morning meetings. We never used to do that. So we're a lot closer to the team than we've ever been before, and we're really proud about that. And we're actually really proud about what we've achieved in the last 3 months, because I know how challenging it's been. we've been so fortunate that we get to meet. I've met over 1,100 of our members in the last 3 months.
Wow.
I've never been able to do that in the car or on a plane. But I've done that through the virtual meetings that Aaron and I host nearly every day. And it's really compelling to hear their story. But one of the most things that we're proud of is that we've created this community of business owners that love to play golf. Golf gives you that mix straight away of trust, because you have to be trustworthy in golf. And we've got members who now completely don't feel on their own in business. And I just feel really sorry, actually, for those hundreds of thousands of business owners at the moment, the small SMEs, who they are on their own and they don't like networking and they don't really know where to turn to. And it's really inspiring when we're hosting networking meetings for our members on calls like this. And you can just see straight in front of you all these huge opportunities that take place. So I suppose in some ways, one of the things we'd love to have done early on was actually have more virtual meetings like we're having now, because they have added so much value, because members have really had two opportunities: A, to meet someone all around the world, because we host local, national, regional and international meetings through Zoom. So they can meet anybody around the world. That's really powerful stuff. I don't think there's any other networking organisation that offers that at the moment that I'm aware of. And it then means, okay, now I've got a chance to meet you. Now let's have a one-to-one. So I've only spent an hour. I haven't needed to leave my home, and I've met you for an hour. That's been brilliant. Now I really like you. I think I like you. So now let's have a one-to-one and explore how we can help each other in business. Now we've had a one-to-one for 45 minutes. Now I actually really like you. But now, why don't you come and join my group as a flexi? Or why don't we have a four-ball? And I've got a couple of people I'd like to invite as well. So you could argue that, God, if we did these Zoom calls a year ago, what would it now look like? But I think I know the answer, because they wouldn't have worked. Because people weren't forced into networking doing virtual meetings, Adrian, were they?
Absolutely not. And it's been quite bizarre. And I spoke to somebody a couple of weeks ago, actually, about Zoom and or doing virtual networking meetings. And she runs a networking organisation. And I said to her, if you imagine on the 1st of January, you turn around to your members and said, right, we're not meeting in venues anymore. She runs 17 venues, would you believe? But I said to her, if you imagine turning around to your members and said that on the 1st of January, we're not running actual venues anymore. We're going to meet virtually. We're going to meet through this thing called Zoom and have these online meetings. I said, how would your members have reacted? And she said they would just laughed, and obviously then just, handed all their memberships in. There just wasn't something. But it's bizarre how quickly the world can change and how quickly this can, all of a sudden we adopt this new technology. But this isn't technology. I can tell the story quite a lot. If you remember back to Alan Sugar, he invented a telephone that he had a little Amstrad telephone with a little screen on it. I'm sure that's back in the 90s at least that he was trying to sell that phone, and it didn't take off. And it was all about having virtual calls. But I want to kind of come back now, because you started touching on now about some of those business owners that perhaps aren't using networking or getting the most out of networking. Share with us, because you are a prolific networker. Share with us your kind of top 3 tips about what it is about networking. Where should I go for it? How do I kind of get the most from it?
Well, I think the first thing is let's just talk about, you're going to meet somebody for the first time on a virtual networking meeting. Get your backdrop right. Look professional. Don't be on the move. Make sure you're ready and you're prepared, because first impressions, unfortunately, do really count. So I think that's really important if you're trying to build confidence with your audience. I think that's so important, especially at the moment when you can't meet them necessarily face to face. But in terms of networking, I think the first lesson is this: never go to an event or never go to a situation to sell your services or your products. Go there to learn from the room. Go there to understand what people do, who their perfect referrals are, And then start into connections and think about how you can help individuals generate opportunities from your network. And that's a really, really hard thing for people to do when they're not used to it. I remember from many, many years ago, when I was much younger, I'd go to events, I'd go there with my business cards, and I was definitely promoting myself more than thinking about how I could help the room. And I suppose that's why I've become that's why I enjoy networking so much now, because I see all the things that people can get wrong, and I enjoy actually advising and giving suggestions on better ways of doing it. I mean, only this morning, Aaron and I were hosting a meeting, and one of our members joined us for the first time. He's been a member for 5 months. He's never been on a virtual meeting. He joined and he said, I'm just so annoyed that I've not participated in any of these meetings until today. I've missed a trick. I've heard about them. I've not found the time to do them, and I should have found the time to do them. And that's the key thing. But to go back to your question, Adrian, it's really important, I think, in life that if you want to be successful in business and you want to be successful in networking, I think the first thing you need to do is become the go-to man or the go-to woman. So when somebody in your network thinks, oh God, I need a plumber, I need a solicitor, I need someone to build me a website. Oh, I don't want to put it out there on Facebook because I'm just going to get loads of weirdos coming to me. Who do I know that's going to know a really good person? And I suppose that's the person that you should aspire to be, because you're helping your network, your friends, your family. And I suppose that 80% of business I know that gets written is written through recommendation and referral, not from picking the phone up and making a cold call. And you've got to build a good network around you. And I love it when I meet new people and I understand what they do in business, and then I can refer them and introduce them to people. And that's what we do. So I think, the first tip 100% is don't go into a room and sell, because it's a huge turn off. And it's about going into a room. Here's a funny story, Adrian. Years ago, I used to go into a room and purposely not tell anybody what I did. And I would go around the room and I would walk around the room and people say, oh, hi, hello, yeah, hi, I'm Sean. Your name? Oh, I'm Jane. Hi, Jane. What do you do in business? Oh, I'm a pediatrician. Okay, cool. Wow, that's an amazing job. Tell me about that. And she'd say, well, what is it you do? So look, don't worry about me. I want to find out more about you and how I can help you. And I just kept batting it back. And then I'd say, Jane, listen, really nice to meet you. And I could see she was like, but I want to know what you do. And then I kept moving around the room. And it's really interesting what response you get from the room when nobody actually knows what you do. And actually, I had loads of follow-up emails. Sean, it was really nice to meet you. Thanks ever so much for the introduction that you made to Bill. But what is it you do? How can I help you? And honestly, try it.
Indeed, yeah, I know. Back when I've formed groups and stuff like that, it was always a thing to do was to is wait for people to ask you, and that's kind of that really about not selling to the room. It's about inviting people to go. We haven't spoken about you, Adrian. What is it that you do? And it's kind of turning that on its head. And once you've got people on that front foot, of course they're engaged, and that's what you want. It's just a much softer way of selling. People also get worried about.
Sorry, Adrian, go on. Go
for it.
No, go on, please. What were you going to say?
Yeah. So, people obviously get very worried about networking because they, at least 50% in the world are introverts. So they always kind of get that quite nervous and kind of petrified of networking. But I think virtual meetings have changed all that, because they're normally in much more comfortable situations. They haven't necessarily got to kind of have those awkward silences where they're trying to form and break into groups that are already talking. So the virtual stuff that really does break down some of those barriers, doesn't it?
Wow, great point. So I'd love to see what that looks like now in 12 months' time, because I think you've hit a really interesting nail on the head there, Adrian, in as much as how many times have I met people that go, oh no, I don't like to see my face on the screen. I don't do video, I don't do this, but they've been forced into it. So actually, because they've been forced into it, have we now got more networkers than ever before in the UK? I think we probably have. I don't know what that number, I don't know how you can get hold of that number. I mean, there's a challenge for you, if ever there was one. How many networkers were there in the UK 12 months ago, and how many are in the UK or have increased in the last 3 months? Because I think it would be huge amounts of difference, because we've now been really forced to go out there and network, because we can't, well, we maybe can now, but certainly 2 months ago, we couldn't phone up our prospects or our clients because they were furloughed or their offices were closed.
Yeah.
So the only way of connecting and creating opportunities was to jump onto networking events. And that's probably why you've seen so much success with your networking group.
Absolutely, indeed. And the groups with Networking for Good, which Sean has kind of talked about, is really we're there to we've developed that. It's actually just a community that are there just to support. The networking is kind of secondary in terms of growing businesses, but we saw that bit where, you're absolutely right, Sean, where I felt for a lot of business owners where they didn't have a network of people they could go and talk to, and they felt very alone, very isolated. Their businesses were frozen. Their clients were kind of saying to them, no, thanks very much. Their customers were kind of letting them down. And I really felt for them. And I felt that there should be a place for those people to go, to actually have some open honesty and go, you know what, put an arm around people and go, yeah, it's shit, isn't it? And how can we help you? How can we help you through and building a network and community that could actually help your situation? And if nothing else, make you feel you're not alone and let you know that you're not alone.
Yeah, and that's really, really important, right? The mental well-being of everybody at the moment. I think, unfortunately, that we haven't seen the worst of what's going to happen. I think there's going to be some drastic changes with businesses over the coming months, and it's concerning. But you're right. When you're part of a trusted community of people, it's really, really helpful. And at the end of the day, it's lovely to know that people have got your back, and I see that. I mean, another really important tip, I think, is one of visibility. How are people going to refer business to you if they don't know what you do? So I would almost look at my network as my sales team, without ramming it down their throat about, look, this is how you need to introduce me, and this is my USP, and this is what you need to keep your ears open for, and if you ever hear this, please introduce me. But get them to make it really easy for them to refer business to you, and just get them to understand exactly what you do and what does your perfect referral look like. And I think that will really, really help the process, and it makes it really easy as well for the person who's referring you. But just promise me one thing, and the viewers on this call today, this is where it can go so wrong if you're not careful. When you get introduced to somebody, please reply to that introduction within 6 hours. Don't leave it 2 days or 3 days. Don't come up with an excuse that you were on holiday, and don't come up with an excuse that you've been really busy. It's so important. If somebody's gone out of their way to make that introduction to you, they'll never make another introduction again if you don't follow it up correctly. It's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things I always bang on about, which I learned from networking many, many moons ago, is the fortunes in the follow-up, and it always is. And the amount of people that go out networking and they do 80% of it and do the hard work, they get over all the nervousness of going off and meeting people, and then they get referrals sent to them and they don't follow up, and you go, oh, yeah. And that's the frustration.
Don't be a talker. Do it.
Absolutely.
And we do meet talkers, don't we? I'd love to share something with you as well, if you don't mind. Just on a similar storyline, really. I think it's really important to not wait to see a synergy, but actually go out and find opportunities for your network. I remember reading listening to a really great 3-disc set by Professor Thomas Stanley, Networking with Millionaires. Okay. And it talked about how you should really help your network. And wouldn't it be lovely if you looked at your prospects and you looked at your customers and you thought, right, I now know exactly what my prospect does in business, and I know what their perfect client looks like because I understand what they do in business. Now I'm going to go away into my network and I'm going to find some potential clients and some potential introductions to that potential client of mine. Just imagine the call, Adrian. Hello, Adrian. It's Sean here calling from Fore-Business. I hope it's not too presumptuous of me, but if it's okay, I'd like to introduce you to somebody in my network that I think you could be selling your services or your products to. Now, what on earth are you going to say there? Now, I suppose part of your brain is going to say, well, why are you offering this service when you should be selling to me because you sent me a proposal a month ago? But then the other half of me is going to go, what a really nice guy to be thinking of me in these really hard times. You're going completely over and above all the other people that have sent their proposals in. So guess what, Sean? Yes, I'd love that introduction. And when are we going to get together to nail down this proposal? And I just think that, wow, how powerful could that be? And it's about, for me, it's about help others around you, and it comes back to you so many more times over. But you've just got to have that mindset. It's hard, and I suppose to get through it, celebrate when you get the thanks. Celebrate when people notice what you're doing for them, because that should be the energy to keep you doing it. Don't, which I could have maybe fallen out of love with many, many times over many, many years, when you're relentlessly doing it and you don't get thanks and you don't get appreciation, and you just think, you could think, well, why am I doing this? You're doing it because you like to do it. You're doing it because you're making a difference. And as long as you keep doing it, you'll continue to make a difference. Even if your network aren't going out over and above the call of duty to thank you, just keep doing it, because I think you become then an absolute advocate of making introductions. And I suppose that then takes me back to my second point at the beginning of this interview, which is, how do you become the go-to person? You know, and that's how you do it. You just continuously make introductions. If I could say one other thing as well, please.
Please do.
Don't ever see a synergy with two people in your network and think, yeah, they're really great people. There could be an opportunity there, but I'm going to speak to them first. Or, no, I don't think it's the right time because I spoke to him yesterday and he stubbed his toe. I'm not going to make that introduction. Make it immediately, because you cannot be the decision between whether he or her and him or whatever that looks like are going to do business with one another. That's up to them. It's up to them whether they like each other. It's up to them whether they see an opportunity. But what you've done is you've looked at the two personalities and you've said, I think these guys will get on. I'm just going to make that introduction. And I'm not lying, Adrian. 99.9% of the time when I make that choice of a synergy, I get it right. And I always I'll get that feedback, which is important, I think.
Absolutely fantastic, Sean. It is brilliant, and I can't thank you enough for how much you shared with us this afternoon and being kind of very frank and open with it as well. But I actually do hear some rumours at the moment. You're now the new Willy Wonka of golf, and I want to share this with people. If I can. I've got to share this because I saw this the other day, which is a great offer that Fore-Business have put out. So it's Sean and Aaron's golden. It's the golden tickets. So just tell us a little bit about these golden tickets that you've now kind of released.
Let me tell you why we're doing this and where we've come from. So as I mentioned earlier in the interview, Adrian, for years Aaron and I have just given out free guest passes. Do guests really see the true value in Fore-Business by just coming along and meeting somebody for half an hour before a round of golf and then only meeting 4 people during the round of golf and then coming back into the clubhouse and some of the room have already left because they need to get back to the office? The answer is probably no. So what we wanted to do was add even more value, and we're the ones taking the risk at the end of the day, but what we wanted to do was give somebody a free trial for 1 month, which entitles them to come along for the networking in the morning, 18 holes of golf, get onto our app, get onto our social media platforms, even get involved with our virtual meetings as well, which are endless, and then have a 4-ball in the month as well. And we're giving that all as a free trial for their first month. And if they like what they see, they carry on with their membership. If they don't like what they see or they don't like the experience, then they have an opportunity to execute the Fore-Business guarantee within 5 days of them coming along to their first meeting, where we will just tear up their membership, and they can go on to pastures new. What's been amazing from this campaign is we've had, in the last 3 days, 49 members have sent out 49 golden ticket invites to their network, and 23 people have already taken them up on that offer. So
Wow.
I think we've got it right. There was a bit of concern out there at the beginning because members have been so used to just being able to offer a free round of golf, but this is greater. This is a greater giveaway. And I have to say, what a conversation starter on Facebook and LinkedIn now, where you can say, who would like to come and grow their business and have 5 rounds of golf on me for free?
Fantastic. And I think it's brilliant. And obviously anybody that would like to get in touch, I'll put the links to all of these things in the show notes, and you can go onto the website, and you can get your own golden tickets, and you find your own local groups. So I'll put all the links on there for Fore-Business as well. Sean, it's been absolutely amazing. I can't thank you enough. Like I say, I've been a fan of yours and Aaron's for a long time now. I know how hard you guys have worked, and also I can remember talking to you a few days into kind of March when all the kind of world was falling down, and I really felt for you guys, and and what you've done and what you've done since to turn the business around has been absolutely brilliant, and a great example of what you have to do in business. It's been fantastic.
Adrian, thank you. You have to believe in what you're doing. Aaron and I have believed in what we're doing for 7 years. The energy comes from the community, and without that, I'm not sure where we would be right now. But it has been challenging, but there's green shoots, and we're looking forward to the future of Fore-Business and where it's going to take our members.
Fantastic. So I'm going to leave you there. I'm just going to finish off and just tell you that if you want a free copy of my book, How to Fall Back in Love with Your Business, you can go onto our website and just go into a free book. There's also lots of free tools on there, more free stuff you can get from us. So please feel free to do that. If you want to catch up on any previous podcasts or shows, we've got a YouTube channel. You can get all the stuff on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts as well, and loveyourbusiness.tv. It takes you all through to our previous shows. And when you do, as you all know, my mission in life and my business is to inspire ordinary people to live extraordinary lives. And every time that somebody looks at or listens to one of our podcasts or sees one of our YouTube videos that we put on for Love Your Business, we actually provide a day's worth of literature and business training to other business owners around the world. So far this year, we've actually done 676 days worth of giving and actually helping other people. So that's really, really important. So when you think about when you're downloading that podcast or watching that YouTube video, we know you're doing that, and we give that somewhere else in the world. So therefore, we're inspiring ordinary people to live extraordinary lives. I want to thank you very much. I've been Adrian Peck. If you want to reach out to me, it's adrian.peck@peckuk.com. And remember, better never stops.
Love Your Business TV. Thank you. Join us next week, and don't forget to subscribe.